right, day 2 here at the Show of Shows. I didn't have quite enough time to hit everything yesterday because this is a giant show. But anyway, we're going to see what else is here today. Talk to some people that we maybe didn't get to talk to yesterday, and yeah, check out some more cool artifacts here. This might be one of the more impressive displays that I've seen here at the show this year. Obviously, we've got this trench set up. So if we go over here, we got a setup of a guy in the 4th Infantry Division. Also got this guy here from the 82nd Division, who is sitting here taking a little bit of a break here on the fire step, and then also have this really nice painted 82nd Division helmet to go with it. And then right here, man, this is something that I kind of wish I could take home with me, because for a long time I've been wanting to get a full setup of a World War I French soldier. And here you can see that we've got this guy in his field uniform and all of his field gear, and this kind of a poncho thing. Yeah, this is an incredible setup.
So today I got to pick up a special piece. For those who don't know, I am a 10th Armored fanatic. My grandfather was wounded December 30th in Bastogne with Combat Command B, Team O'Hara. Today I got the M3 knife here, a boot knife. People call it field trench knife. It belonged to Hiram Malik, who was with the 3rd Tank Battalion, 10th Armored Division. And you can see where he did his own little trench art. In the handle, he did the Roman numeral X for 10, and then did the armored triangle. So 10th Armored, 10th Armored, 10th Armored. So this and his original patch came from his son, who sold it to a dealer here. Now it's in my possession. And Andy, you said you carried one of these during the war?
Yep, right in the boot. Yep. In fact, I used to eat with it too. In fact, I was cutting cheese and I cut my goddamn hand right here. Cutting cheese.
But when you came home, you told the girls that the Germans bayoneted you there. But really, you were cutting cheese, huh?
Yeah, well, I used it for everything, but I kept it in my boot because this was from a captured military, regular, not SS.
German Army, Wehrmacht, right?
Yeah, we had the Wehrmacht, we had a lot of SS. Going through Germany was a lot of SS. We used to get them, and then we used to march with them and dig up bodies while we were marching through Germany. And I used to carry my knife there. That was very handy for me. I don't know if anybody else had them, but I did.
Yeah, very sharp too. So
very sharp.
So here we got a pretty nice collection of helmets. But just to show you some of the wild stuff that you'll find here, well, they also have this Panzer Shrek that you could take home if your heart so desired.
We're with Bill Shea from the Ruptured Duck, who has an amazing collection of military items, and he also is one of the probably the top dealer in the world. And I've done a lot of business with Bill. It's great to be here.
My pleasure.
Bill and I go way back, and he's also on our advisory board at the Gettysburg Museum of History. And when I say he's an advisor for the museum, he really brings it home. He gives me excellent advice all the time, and I really appreciate that. Yesterday he told me a great story about another museum he worked with. Good advice is always welcome. And I had to be here today, or I had to bring you here to show you this amazing collection. He showed me this yesterday, and I was just so amazed. I have never seen so many SS rings in one place, and this is from a lifelong collection. Now, the SS ring was presented by Himmler to certain people in the SS. They have a date of presentation in them, and it has the SS man's name in there. So some of them can be researched if they're not too worn out. But they're extremely rare. They're very valuable in the collector's market. And just to see this many in one place, well, I've never seen this many in one place. And I've seen 2 or 3, maybe at a bigger dealer's table. But to see this amount, and Bill, this isn't even all of them. He's already sold some. So I'm going to let Bill talk to you about how he acquired this collection and what it is, and then we'll go back to some paperwork later.
Yep. Well, I've been a dealer in World War II militaria for more than 6 decades. And as a result of that, I've helped build collections along the way. And in the course of that, a lot of those people who I helped build collections from 40 or 50 years ago are getting to the point in life where they might decide to part with their collection. So timing and luck has a lot to do, even if you're a well-known dealer. So it was last September, I got contacted by a very big dealer in rings, and he told me about this collection. There happened to be 61 rings, 9 official documents that were awarded along with the ring, and other groups that had a really good amount of research. Because one of the fun things about a ring is it's dated and it has the man's name, okay? So that gives you a start to being able to go to the archives, contact somebody who really does good research, and maybe you can find more about the individual. So this is an item that can have a personality. As we know, most of the things we handle, you can't get that far with it. So it becomes a niche collectible, partly because of the value, but many guys like to know the research. Well, here was an opportunity to handle this massive collection, more than 40 years of collecting in this man's life. He was truly a private collector. Very seldom went to shows, but he had good contacts. And I had sold him a number of the rings. So when I got the initial contact that the ring collection was available, I reached out to him. We had a really good talk. One of the advantages was he came from Massachusetts, and that's where I live. So timing, luck, and location has a bearing on it. And believe me, the word got out that this collection was available. Well, he brought it up to me, and it was a very substantial amount of money, but the amount of research he had done, the background knowledge, the fact that many of these came with certificates of authenticity, which Eric and I both give out for anything we sell, and we don't just, that isn't just a piece of paper. Right. That is saying, we guarantee it. I used to say, for your life or mine, but now I say your life, mine, or my son's, because my son Patrick is my partner, and we have a transition that will be around a lot longer. So the opportunity to buy that number of rings at one chance was almost overwhelming. So we spent an entire day going over them and going over the documents, and came up with a number that both he and I could work with. And he had done also that part of the work. He said, I believe this is what they're going to retail for, and this is what I need. So I took that leap of faith, purchased them, and without even advertising, the unbelievable ability of the internet to get the word out there, I started getting bombarded with requests, and particular ones they were looking for. They knew more about the collection than I did, honestly. So literally, even before I've ever advertised them, we've sold quite a few. Initially there were 5 dozen, but we still have a lot of great ones. And people are looking for different things with the rings. I've already told you about a few of the things they're looking for. That is that they can research, or it's been researched. But then there are people who are looking for a particular size, or they're looking for a particular date. These were given out on special dates. Or they're looking for a particular name, or they're looking for where. And just like any of our collector base, some people got to have it mint, and other people want it really worn. So at this point, I'm like the haberdasher. I can say what size you're looking for and what condition are you looking for. Honestly, personally, I like wear. I like the fact that the guy wore it. But these rings were special.
Yeah.
And so it's like the dagger. You don't wear it every day. So maybe they literally, put it away, put it in the drawer, because how would a ring that was given out with a date of June 30th, 1934, for those of you historians, you can look that particular date up, or on April 20th of a particular year, literally, if the guy was given the ring on in 1934 or 35, you would expect it would have wear. So there's been a lot of good feedback. This is the first show I've had them at, and the response has really been good. So at some point in the future, I'm going to start putting more of these on, some of these on my website, unless Eric buys them all.
Well, I want to show you real quick some of the examples of the documentation some of these come with. This particular one, this is an SS file that was copied, and it has a picture of the guy. And this is the kind of stuff that you get with it. Some certificates, these are the photos, the close-up photos, but I wanted to get to here. This has all the SS, this is actually the SS file on this guy. And that's this ring that Bill's holding right now. And it's really a very thick document that has all kinds of information in it. You can read through this stuff. It's got real history, and having a photo is really great. Not everyone in the SS files has a photograph, but to me, it's really interesting. Now, Bill was saying about size and condition. Most people will be watching this will get the condition thing, but the size, I don't think people are wearing them so much as the bigger size ones. Sometimes collectors want bigger size ones because the way these are constructed, this is a large size one, I can tell. There's a seam under the skull, and it's put together, and the smaller size ones, you lose part of the design. So there's collectors who really want the whole design unaltered, want those larger sizes. And I'm like Bill, I would prefer to have one worn, because then the guy wore it and just didn't put it away. But having this documentation just makes it really interesting, historic, and I have never seen this many in one place. So thanks for showing that to us, Bill.
My pleasure.
It's very, very interesting.
And also, documentation is still being found. So some of the rings that they haven't been able to find yet documentation on, with the archives being open and different researchers going to them, there will be even more that will be found along the way.
Yeah.
And the value is sometimes contingent upon how much documentation you have.
Right.
So the more the better, obviously. So.
And sometimes what the guy did.
Sure.
If he was an administrator in an office in Berlin, may not be as desirable as a combat guy. I like looking for combat guys too.
One of the
amazing,
absolute most interesting rings that I have was given to an SS officer who was in charge of Operation Reef, and that was during the Battle of the Bulge, when approximately 200 soldiers, German soldiers, dressed up in American uniforms, driving American jeeps, wearing American boots, tried to disrupt the advances of the United States forces. And one of the rings belongs to the guy that supervised that operation under Skorzeny. His fate was in a U.S. uniform, driving a U.S. Jeep, and he went over a German mine and got blown up in a German mine. So ironic, but that one has a lot of history behind it.
We have something else that we are going to show here in just a moment from the Ruptured Duck, but first I wanted to show this SS Totenkopf horse blanket. Now, again, as we've mentioned many times throughout these American artifact videos, in World War II, U.S. soldiers were grabbing anything and everything to bring home as souvenirs. And one guy, I don't know, maybe he was into horses and lived on a ranch or something like that, or maybe he just thought it looked neat, grabbed this SS Totenkopf horse blanket. So this is a little bit more fancy, so probably something that would have been used in parades or formal events or something like that, but extremely, extremely rare. There weren't many of these things to begin with, and there are even fewer now.
Another really outstanding artifact at the Ruptured Duck that really grabbed my attention was this oversized Hitler photograph. I believe that's a Hoffman photo, most likely, and this was taken near the Berghof on the Obersalzberg. And he has the earlier style uniform. Now, children and other Hitler fans, he just had come into power, and people wanted to go see their beloved Führer. So people would literally line up outside his house, and once in a while in Berchtesgaden, and once in a while he would come out and he would greet children and other fans, sometimes Hitler Youth, and there's photographs of this. And this is a pretty famous Hoffman photo that was taken of this little girl. I'm sure her parents put her up to it because he's kind of holding her, and then later on the photo was printed in a large format and they went back and had it signed. They may have sent it to him through the mail or through his secretary Martin Bormann or something like that. But it's just an incredible rare photo, because most of the Hitler photos that you see are smaller format. They're real photo postcards. This is a large format, very unusual. Where it was taken is part of it, and how dark the signature is. It's very consistent with his just coming into power, circa 1933 through 36 type signature. We do buy and sell a lot of autographed material at the Gettysburg Museum of History, but this one really caught my eye. And Bill, what else can you tell me? I believe you had this translated.
I did,
exactly.
yep.
So
came out of a very old collection, has been in the same collector's hands for a number of years, and it is unusual to find a reasonably long dedication.
Right.
And not being able to read German, I had an expert look at it, and it translates literally to "with the friendliest greetings, most sincerely dedicated, Obersalzberg, 1934, Adolf Hitler." So that combination of the size, the length of the dedication was something that certainly stimulated me to buy it. So we're really happy to get it, recent acquisition, and it's the first time it's been offered in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it's a very outstanding piece, Bill, and every time I come here you have something that is just incredible. I mean, he has lots of incredible stuff, but sometimes things like that jump out. You just don't see one that big and that well done very often.
Yep.
But
Thank
thanks
you very
again,
much.
Bill.
Yep, you bet.
All right, we're getting ready to leave here, so let's take a quick look at what old JD made out with this year at the Show of Shows. So one of the items that I picked up was this Japanese flag that was taken by a guy who was in the 77th Infantry Division, a guy by the name of Richard Reed. And you can see he did a little artwork there. They were called the Statue of Liberty Division, so he decided to put a little personal touch on that. Also picked up some cowbone trench art. So these are trench art pieces that were made by German prisoners of war in England. And I think they are just cool as heck. I have a few of these, but I don't have any that are painted quite like this, so that's really neat. And then also picked up this medal grouping from a soldier, British soldier by the name of Joseph Wood, who was at the evacuation of Dunkirk and then later fought in North Africa and then was wounded in North Africa. And here you can see his Dunkirk medal and pay book, certificate of service. There's a whole lot of paperwork that comes with this as well. And what's really cool is that we also have a photo of the veteran. Here's the knife that we were just looking at with Individuo, with some of the artwork on it. This right here is another Japanese flag that I picked up, and you can see it is in rather weathered condition, but the main reason why I picked this up is that you can kind of see in the writing there, it says Banzai Attack, March 25th, 1945, Iwo Jima. So this was a flag that was taken by a Marine in what was the last Banzai charge in Iwo Jima, or the Battle of Iwo Jima. And then last thing, again, this one is not mine personally. This is another piece that Andy picked up. We're really big into signed items and soldier art and pieces of, things that have like personality or more of a personal connection. So this is obviously a Nazi banner that was signed by a bunch of different guys, and did a little on-the-spot research and found the name of one of the guys. There was some different units that were listed here. Several of them were from the 164th Engineer Battalion, but there were some from like other places. Anyway, one of these guys was, or the guy that we think had the flag was wounded. So some of them, some of the names here might be guys who were in the hospital with him, because here you see an 80th Division guy here. Also got I hadn't seen this yet. Got a little soldier art on this one. But anyway, those are a few of the items that we picked up here at the Show of Shows. Okay, so those are a few items that I picked up here at the Show of Shows, and as we've mentioned before, this is also where Eric does a lot of buying to resell items on the website to help fund the museum. So anyway, things are wrapping up here. We are going to head over to the hotel and take a look at the big haul from this year's Show of Shows.
So we're back in the hotel rooms after several days at the Show of Shows, and it's been kind of a tradition now for the last several years since I've been on the History Underground's American Artifact series to kind of show what we got and just show how much is available. And we always say we get a lot of items at these shows to resell on our website. We sell military antiques to fund the Gettysburg Museum of History. And but I always like to try to at least find a few items for the museum that we'll keep. But we're always looking for flags. We got a good selection of flags this year, armbands, some of the smaller insignia. We got some SS items, which are always difficult to find, and for a reasonable price, that is. And so we were able to find some SS items and a lot of smaller items that we sell on the website all the time. Probably one of the best surprises this year. I mean, I knew there was going to be some here because the person who had this called me, but we got a bunch of Hitler and other Third Reich silver. We sell that a lot on our websites when we can find it, and it's been a while since we've been able to buy it in this kind of quantity. I mean, sometimes we'll find one or two pieces, but this was a pretty big collection that someone I knew got into, and we actually got first crack at it. So we got some Hitler trays, some Goering trays, we got a gravy boat, bunch of flatware, some Bormann silver, some Himmler silver, some Eva Braun silver, just a decent selection, and that stuff will be on the website, and it always goes fast. So if you've ever been thinking about getting some Hitler silver, If you see it on the website, don't hesitate. And that's not a sales pitch. It's just because it does not last very long at all on the website. And I'm very excited to be able to offer some. First time in a while, and a couple really rare pieces too, like this this flower vase. You know, you never see those. I think it's only the second time I've ever had one, and you know, it's just very rare to get into a collection like this. And I'm really happy to bring it to you. A couple of pieces that I'm keeping for the museum that I found very interesting was, well, number one, there was a Hitler Führer standard right here. This is Hitler's personal flag. Now, we have one in our collection, but it's real big. So we were thinking we might keep this one and possibly pass on the really big one, because this will be good for our new display that we're creating in the new museum. It's a more of a reasonable size, and it has the manufacturer's tag, and then it has the stamps on the back, and it says Standard de Führer, and it has the size on there. And it's made out of a wool material, and has a little bit of mothing, but it's unique. This is the one, Hitler's personal flag. So we're probably going to keep that and possibly sell our bigger one. Now, you saw that we were talking to Bill Shea, and he brought out his amazing collection of SS rings, and we decided we had to take one back. So this is the one I picked out. Has a lot of paperwork with it, and it had other items from the same SS guy. It wasn't one that just like randomly popped up. But yeah, it was reasonable enough to buy it. We have one in our collection, so I haven't decided if we're going to keep a second one or keep this one and get rid of the other one. But we'll probably keep this, but I'm not sure yet. But we had to take one of those rings back. And the other thing that happened when we were filming with Helmut from Germany, he showed us this wonderful Hitler gold pin, which is extremely rare. And you know, we have other personal items from Hitler, and I was offered one of these many years ago for an astronomical price. And my good friend Helmut offered this to me at a more reasonable price. So we decided to take this bag. It has a cool little box with it. But it's solid gold. It's 14 karat, or not solid, but 14 karat gold. And amazing. I just couldn't leave that sit. That was the big surprise of the show. A lot of times we have deals already in the works, or we know what we're kind of walking into, but that was just a complete surprise. We were filming all those items, and then all of a sudden, when we were doing the close-ups on items, he said, "Oh, you have a lot of the Hitler personal items. Check this out, I just got it." And so we just lucked into actually getting that item. So a couple items that we're going to keep at the museum.
Here are a few quick items that I want to focus in on. Now, of course, when we are looking at all of these Nazi and Japanese related items, these are war trophies that were brought back by U.S. soldiers after World War II. And here's one that is mounted on this card. And it says, "This was taken from the body of an SS trooper." So that's kind of interesting. And then we look right here. This is actually a couple of Hitler Youth armbands that have been sewn together. And on it, it says Goebbels Girdle. And then the last thing that I wanted to point out was this one right here. This is another, obviously, Nazi armband, party armband. And on it, the veteran decided to commemorate the moment. It says, "East Czechoslovakia, Victory Day, May 8th, 1945, 12:01 a.m. plus 3 p.m. So anyway, there were a few of the more documented, I guess you could say, war trophy items that the veterans put a little bit more of a personal touch on. A
couple of other items that we decided to keep for the museum collection were some flags, and we're going to start with this. This is a signed, captured German flag with some really huge signatures on it. Quite a nice variety. What was very, very interesting to me is this has some guys, some Air Corps guys and some P-47 guys from the Hellhawks, which was one of the fighter groups. And I believe there's some pilots on here as well, not just ground crew. But we haven't really researched it yet, but it came from a pretty reliable source, and we'll have to go through some of these names. And I know the second I say this and the second you see this, you'll have a whole bunch of people researching the names, so we'll get your comments as well. I just thought it was really interesting, and it's a big boat flag, you know, so it's a pretty good flag as just a standalone flag, but with these giant signatures, and it being Air Corps. You don't see a lot of captured German flags from the Air Corps, so I just thought it was really, really interesting, and yeah, I think we're going to keep this one. So another thing that I found at the show, again, this wasn't a pre-done deal like some of the stuff, but I just happened to stumble upon this from a dealer. It's a Japanese flag with kanji on it, and you know, we see them quite a bit. A lot of those were brought back by American soldiers, but this one, I believe, came out of Japan because it has a photo of the soldier holding this very flag. And you can see if you line up the writing on there, it lines up perfectly, except right here. So they would sign these before they would go off to war, different families. There's different slogans on here. So when he had his photograph taken, this part here had not been written on there yet. But if you line this up with here and this down here, it lines up perfectly. This is the first time I've seen one like this. Most of the flags over here in the US are ones that were taken from killed Japanese soldiers. But yeah, this is from a photographer's studio over there in Japan, and you know, when I saw that, I just thought it was so unique and so different that we had to get that. So that's another item that we're going to keep for the museum collection.